Hey guys, it's ScorchA2 here, and I want to bring you guys a tutorial on how to record your gameplay videos with commentary using FRAPS version 3 or higher and Windows 7 or Windows Vista. This tutorial will also be useful for those not using FRAPS version 3 or Windows XP. I'll just have to cover briefly at the end what you would do in the interim. So obviously you don't have to record commentary over your gameplay videos. This is not required for that, but this one will go to show how to do that using this version. So first thing you want to do is obtain a version of FRAPS, and I'll just go through each of the tabs here and kind of show what all the different options are and what you can do to configure. So first things first is this a general tab where you're going to have basic options for the program itself and how it behaves in your operating system. Minimize, always on top, run FRAPS when it starts, monitor arrow desktop, and minimize to tray only. The FPS tab here will be a folder that shows where to save benchmarks. So if you're benchmarking your software at all, this is where it'll go. You can configure a hotkey, what to take metrics on, and for how long to perform. You can set a hotkey for the overlay, which is basically the position of the frames per second indicator that shows up when you play. You can either do it manually here, you can hide it altogether, you can set how often it updates, or you can set a hotkey to do that based on the game that you're playing and what you decide to do. The movies tab is where most people will actually spend most of their time. You will specify a folder for which you want to save your videos to. So usually I'll do it based on the game I'm playing, so I don't have to go hunting through footage later on. You can set the video capture hotkey, which will be the hotkey that you press when you want to start recording video. Sometimes you have to set it to an obscure key because a lot of the games that you play, some keys will be useful and some won't. So you either have to constantly be changing or always pick one that you know you'll never use. So consequently, I chose the equal sign because I almost never use that key in game. You can set it to capture at different frames per second. I usually set it to 29.97, which is standard NTSC. Anybody who's either not in the United States or in some other country that uses a different standard, you might want to use something different, and you can customize it here. Full size or half size basically means take full resolution or half resolution to save disk space if you're concerned with that. FRAPS files can get pretty big because it's uncompressed video. Sound capture settings, so this this one will depend on what operating system you're using. This one is only available under Windows Vista or Windows 7, where it'll say record Win 7 sound or Vista Direct Stream or something like that, where basically it'll take its sound output from the operating system directly before the sound card actually gets the sound data. So it's sort of just intercepting the sound channel there. If you're running under XP, you'll probably have to use your sound card stereo mix. That one's going to vary based on your hardware, so you'll have to make sure that your default playback device is something that a program could access. This one is only available under Windows 7 or Vista. It's a new addition to FRAPS 3. It's record external input, and this one will allow you to record off of the default recording device set under your sound properties. So if you go to your volume mixer and then go to recording devices, here or there, it'll bring up a dialog box where you'll be able to say what default device you have, and whichever one is set default when you open FRAPS is the one it'll use. So when you start recording, any audio picked up from that device will be laid over the video, and it's pretty good at interleaving, so you don't have a lot of sync issues with that. And then you have some other options where you don't sync audio and video. So if you have problems with audio and video being off, you might want to uncheck or check this to see if that's affecting it. If you don't want your mouse cursor to show, you can hide it and then force lossless RGB capture, and it may be slower, but people with better computers might be able to handle that. It might improve your quality a little bit. Needless to say, if you aren't using Windows Vista or FRAPS 3, recording your external input will actually require you to use a secondary program. So like if you want to use Camtasia Studio, you'll be able to use that and that's what I use to record. You can use other free programs like Audacity or something, where if you go to voice narration and just record, you'll have a separate track for which you're going to have to sync up later. So that's what you're going to have to do for that one. So the last tab under FRAPS, I never use it, but some might. It's for screenshot capturing, so you can specify a folder to place screenshots in, give a hotkey, what type of format, blah blah blah. So that's the basics of how to use FRAPS. Now, since I can't demonstrate exactly how it's going to work when you get a full screen game, I'm going to use my media player to show you what's going on and how that works. So I'm going to open up a piece of video here. I'm going to open it up in media player. I'll just use some old footage. And you can see, it's probably going to look a little weird on the recording, but you can see the frames per second indicator in the top corner. If you see that indicator on the game that you're playing, FRAPS recognizes it and you're able to record. So whenever you want to start, it's because these files are kind of small. I'm going to choose a larger one. Let's see that one here. Okay, so here's a larger file, one that'll play longer. So when you see that FPS indicator in the corner and you're ready to start recording, you go ahead and hit your hotkey, and you'll see that the indicator will turn red, indicating that it's now capturing and recording anything from your sound stream and your external device if you've got that configured. So it might be a little hard to hear it when I play it back, but we're going to hear the speech that I'm giving off right now over the video that's been recorded off of the video, so it's kind of a weird setup, but this is basically how it works. There's not a lot of work to it. So we're going to go ahead and stop it now, and it'll turn yellow when it's not recording. Go ahead and turn that off. And then here's the output folder where everything was saved, and this is the video clip. Usually it names the file based on the process that's running when you're recording it, and then it appends a timestamp to it so you know what time it was taken. So we'll go ahead and play it with media player again. And I'm going to turn the sound up, indicating that it's now capturing and recording anything from your sound stream and your external device. So you may or may not have been able to hear that over the microphone, but we did get a capture of the video and the voiceover commentary over the track there. So what you'll want to do after that is import that into your editing program, whichever one you prefer. FRAPS files can get kind of large, so what it does is once it reaches the 4 GB limit for the FRAPS AVI file, it'll split to a new file, and you'll be able to just merge them all together, and there should be a seamless transition. You shouldn't have any breaks in the footage. So I'm going to go ahead and move that, go to where we save the files at. We'll just load a bunch of them in here, and then I'm going to add this WAV file in to show you what you would do if you had a secondary track. So we'll go ahead and drag these onto the timeline. And as it builds peaks for them, you'll be able to see that on any place where there's a break in the footage where the new file was created, if you play over it, you'll notice that it crosses the gap without any breaks. And then if you had commentary on a secondary track to add in, you'd have to go and manually sync it up. So you just drag the track to the location at which it corresponds to the video, and then you'd play it.
Clean out all the lockers. Audio test for the recording.
I'm going to mute the...
This is supposed to be commentary that goes over a gameplay footage video and must be synced up manually once finished.
So anyway, that's how that works out. So once you've got your footage recorded and dragged into your editor, you'll be able to render and produce your video. So obviously, if you don't use the versions that I'm running in this tutorial, it's going to be a little more complicated, but it's not impossible, and it's definitely doable. It's what I was doing for the past, I don't know, year and a half before this version came out, so I'm used to it. The one benefit that I have to say to doing it this way is that now you have individual control over the volume levels. So if your commentary is a little quiet, you can raise the volume, make it louder. You can quiet the gameplay footage without impacting your voiceover, whereas if you do it this way, it's all on one track, so you're kind of at the whim of your settings. So that's been the tutorial on how to record using FRAPS. I hope it was helpful. If there's anything that I didn't cover, don't hesitate to send me a message and I'll do what I can to answer. I'm not tech support, so I'm not going to do much troubleshooting, but I'll do what I can for you. So if you have any other questions, let me know. Otherwise, I hope this helped and I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later.